It's almost time. The Euros are almost upon us. The biggest party of the European summer is set to get underway. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. 48 hours or so away from the biggest party of the European summer hitting Germany in the form of the European Championships, in which it's going to be another festival of football, another feast for the eyes, another feast to sink our teeth into as well, of international football for the big occasion. A big spectacle awaits us in Germany this summer as teams from around Europe battle it out on German soil to be known as the European champions for this year. Will football be coming home for England? Will the French reign supreme? Will Germany win it in their home country? Or will Italy retain their European Championship status? Or will another outsider upset the odds and win this tournament, as outsiders have done in this competition's long and illustrious history? All of that will be revealed this summer. But this is, of course, going to be the video where we're going to preview some of the teams, some of the favourites that are in the competition. We're going to be talking about a little bit about the overall competition at the end as well. But I picked out 7 teams that are my favourites and ones to watch for this summer. So without further ado, I would like to remind you to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section as well, because I'm sure we have a lot of interesting thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That'll make for great and interesting reading down there, I'm sure. So please do get involved in all of that. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's get on with the video. And we are first going to start off with the Three Lions. Gareth Southgate's England. There's no doubt about this one. This is a must-win tournament for England. Any form of losing is a failure. Any stage being knocked out is a failure. If they are not coming home from Germany with the European Championship as extra luggage, it is a failure. Plain and simple as that. England cannot lose this tournament, otherwise it is a major failure. Expectations have never been at an all-time high for an England squad that has got a ton of potential, a lot of promise, but overall is oozing with talent and quality. The only thing that is putting the handbrake on this is the manager. And I've time and time again talked about Gareth Southgate. I'm not going to sit here and rant about Gareth Southgate for another 10 to 15 minutes on that subject. I am tired of talking about Gareth Southgate, and I know that one way or another, this summer will probably be the last summer that we have Gareth Southgate as England manager. And maybe we will then get a manager who can actually better utilise the attacking talent on show. Because when you look at the squad, on paper, this should be a squad that is winning this tournament. You look at the goalkeeper situation. May not be the best goalkeepers around, but they're still solid enough for European football or for international football. You look at the defence. It's not, again, the best defence, and there are a couple of issues within that defence. For example, there's no Harry Maguire. John Stones is ill for potentially the first game of the calendar, and also, you know, he hasn't exactly been playing regular football towards the end of the season. And Luke Shaw, well, let's just say that I fear for Luke Shaw if he is to play in this tournament, because that first sprint he's going to produce will probably mean his hamstring's going to go again. It's not the best on paper in terms of reliability, but there are still some solid players in there that can obviously get you by in a tournament. You also then look at the midfield. Midfield, again, oozing with quality. This is where you start to get to the fruits of what England have produced. He's moved Trent Alexander-Arnold into midfield. He's got this mad obsession with that. I am not fully for it. I think it can work against certain and specific opposition, but he seems to be completely set and sold on Trent Alexander-Arnold being the main or being a guy in midfield. But beyond him, Declan Rice controlling things alongside Jude Bellingham. You've got Phil Foden ahead of him, the golden boy, the star of the Premier League, the Premier League's best player this campaign. You've got Bukayo Saka, Cole Palmer. You've got Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Ollie Watkins. The list is endless of the amount of talent and quality that this England side possesses. It's just going to be about whether or not they can perform on foreign soil. It's going to be about whether or not Gareth Southgate is going to switch things up a little bit, maybe release the handbrake a little bit, maybe go a bit more attacking. There are just a fair few factors that worry me about this England side, because they should be winning this competition, but I don't think they will, and I haven't felt that way ever. But on paper, I know they should. But it's about the team selection. Is Southgate going to produce the right team selection? Is he going to do the right in-game tactics? Is he going to learn from his previous mistakes of being knocked out of major tournaments by the likes of Croatia, Italy, France? Is he going to learn from those mistakes? I don't think he will. And that's why I don't think England will win the competition this year. That's why I don't think that England or football is coming home. That's why I don't think that England will have a successful tournament. And it will be another tournament, and it will mean more time taken away from this incredible crop of talent and quality that we have to actually go and win something. Don't get me wrong, we very well could fluke our way to a major tournament success. Of course we could. But I don't trust the manager. I don't trust the current form we're going in right now. You can maybe argue that we're not going full throttle. We're experimenting with a few things. I can somewhat understand that. But I've seen this before. I've seen the expectations raised so high before, only to crumble so low. These lot will be the failures of the tournament, regardless of what anyone else does, if they don't win it. And that includes France losing all three of their group games and going out in the group stages. England will still fail more if they do not win. But that's just my thoughts on the England team. I don't expect them to... I don't put them to win. I understand why they're the favourites though, but I don't personally think they are going to win this tournament. And for one reason only. 2 words. Gareth Southgate. Simple as that. Next, we're going to move on to Spain. España. Spain. Interesting selection that they have. Interesting manager as well. We know that they're going to obviously approach this in the typical Spanish tiki-taka style. They're going to be interesting to watch. But again, I don't think they have enough about them to go on and win this tournament. They've got a mixture of youth and experience within the squad. They are tournament outsiders, I would say. I would say that they're not going to win the competition. But if things turn in their favour, if they get a few fortuitous or favourable draws here and there in the knockout stages, if some of the bigger teams get knocked out ahead of them, they very well could go on and have a decent tournament. They are put in a very interesting group, actually. The group that they have, I believe, is Albania, Italy, and Croatia. I think I'm right in saying that. I think that's the group I've got. So that's what I'll put anyway. But that is a very intriguing group right off the bat. And especially when you consider that obviously they have a couple of places open for third. So you very well could be looking at a third place team going through in this group. Italy could take advantage of that. And as we have seen in previous tournaments where the third place team does go through, certain teams, I wouldn't obviously put money on them doing this, but maybe they see it as a more favourable route of going down that road. I don't know. I don't know. But obviously we have seen teams go through that stage before and obviously do that route. So could be very interesting, and that could be a very interesting group. We've got an experienced defence that features the likes of Dani Carvajal and obviously Enzo Fernandez, Aymeric Laporte, Jesus Navas, and of course there's a little bit of bit more youth in there, a bit more, shall we say, inexperience, shall we say, on a tournament stage in Alex Grimaldo, but he has had a fantastic season, obviously, with Bayer Leverkusen, so fair play to him. You move into the midfield. Again, it's a mixture of experience and a little bit of inexperience, a bit of youth. You've got Rodri in there, arguably the best defensive midfielder on the planet. Pedri, we know all about him despite his young age. Fabian Ruiz, Martin Zubimendi, Dani Olmo as well is still going strong. So there's, again, a bit of notoriety in the ranks there for Spain, but also a bit of inexperience as well. Up front, or in the forward positions, you've got the likes of Alvaro Morata, Joselu, Ferran Torres, and Ayoze Perez. Now, I do worry for Spain in those aspects. They are a long way away from where they were, obviously, about, around about 10 years ago, where they were under the attacking prowess of an informed Fernando Torres and an insane David Villa. They are a long way from those kinds of players gracing the Spanish national shirt and playing up front for España. So I do worry for them in terms of their firepower. Defensively, I think they're solid enough, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get them across the finish line, because I just don't see them scoring enough goals in this tournament. They very well, I think they'll blitz certain stages and certain teams, and they'll blow certain teams away. Albania, I think, if they move the ball quickly enough, and obviously if they play their natural style, they will probably blitz Albania away. But it's against the teams that are going to be a bit more well-structured defensively. They're going to come up against an Italy. Are they going to be able to do the same thing there? Are they going to be able to do the same, maybe even against a Croatia who are also in their group? It's going to be a very interesting group. It's going to be a very interesting time for Spain. And like I say, a mixture of inexperience, youth, and experience there. So it's a very interesting squad, but one that I don't think has enough firepower in to get them any further. All eyes, I think, will be on youngster Lamine Yamal. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. Again, I'm very sorry if I'm butchering names, but again, he's very highly rated, obviously playing for Barcelona, and I think he could be a very much a one to watch, shall we say, as the tournament progresses. If, of course, Spain are to give this guy a shot and a chance being in the tournament. So that could be very interesting. Could be interesting to watch Spain on the whole, but there we have it. Next up, Germany, the home soil team, the host nation, Germany, are up next. And the host nation are certainly looking to redeem themselves after a few terrible displays in previous tournaments, previous major international tournaments that have seen the Germans visibly upset, angry and frustrated at how poorly the Germans have fallen since their incredible World Cup triumph back in 2014. They're looking to redeem themselves, but there's big pressure on the team to obviously perform on home soil. There's big pressure on the new manager, of course, Julian Nagelsmann, recently taken over from Hansi Flick, of course. But when you look at the squad, it's still a decent squad on paper. It's not nothing to be sniffed at. Two decent goalkeepers out of the three that are more notorious to people, of course. We obviously know about Manuel Neuer. We obviously know about Andre ter Stegen as well. A defence that is, again, notorious, and again, a bit of mixture of experience and a bit of youth and inexperience as well. You know, the forms of Joshua Kimmich, Jonathan Tah, Antonio Rudiger, Schlotterbeck, Henrichs. You know, nothing to be turned your nose up at. It's a pretty solid defence there. Not perfect, not watertight. Obviously, is prone to error. But but still should be performing better than what they have done in previous tournaments. You look at the midfield, it is talented, it is balanced. You've got Toni Kroos playing in his last major tournament, last time ever seeing him grace a football pitch, which is going to be a sad sight, of course. Pascal Gross, we know from his time at Brighton, we know how creative he can be, we know how good on the ball he can be, how press resistant he can be. Gundogan, we know how much of a workhorse he is. He may be getting older, but he's aging like a fine wine. Jamal Musiala adds that pace, flair, technical ability. Inexperienced a little bit, yes, but of course has been going from strength to strength when it comes to playing for Bayern Munich. Emre Can brought in as a last-minute replacement. We obviously know about the defensive output of him, the work rate of him, so that could be interesting. And obviously Florian Wirtz, who has had a fantastic season with Bayer Leverkusen. So, of course, he'll be wanting to kind of carry that form over into the international stage with his national team. And, of course, his creative output is going to be truly an asset for this German side. And then when you look at the attack, it's somewhat promising. It's got Leroy Sané occupying a wing, maybe even going down the centre. You've got Füllkrug as well, having a decent season with Dortmund. Kai Havertz, we know about Arsenal, the versatility of him. We know about, obviously, Thomas Muller, very experienced, leader on that pitch. And a bit of a wild card one, Dennis Undav, who's obviously had a brilliant season in the Bundesliga, so he could be one certainly to look out for in this tournament as far as what Germany are concerned. But I think the overall premise is that this is a side that is very much a work in progress, very much being thrown together a little bit under the new management of Julian Nagelsmann, and is very much still finding their feet under their new manager. So wouldn't expect Germany to win it on home soil, but I definitely would expect them to show a better display than what they have done in the past few tournaments. Germany could be very interesting to watch. But yeah, I don't see them winning. And I think, again, similar to Spain, I'm not 100% convinced of their firepower up front. I'm not entirely convinced by the likes of Kai Havertz on an international level. Füllkrug, Sané, Undav, like I say, could be a bit of a wild card, but again, unproven. And then defensively as well, like I say, they're not exactly watertight. So that could be interesting to watch for Germany as far as what they are concerned. But I'm still expecting a decent tournament from them. I'm still expecting to feed off the energy of the home crowd and them to at least progress to the knockout stages, and then from there you work it out. Next up, the Netherlands. The Netherlands. Another interesting team to focus on. They could be very interesting to watch. They normally are in these tournaments, basing it off their heritage of total football. They're normally an interesting team to watch. I don't think that will be changing anytime soon. I think they've got a decent looking squad. I think that the defensive side of their squad is solid as hell. Virgil van Dijk, Mickey van der Ven, Nathan Ake, Matthijs de Ligt. Players that we've known across Europe, players that are strong across Europe, both individually and as a team player. Van Dijk experience, leadership is going to be very much needed in that side, alongside whoever he's going to be playing against. I think the pace of Van der Ven is going to be a worthy asset for the Dutch. It's going to be very interesting to see how they set up. They've got quite a few defensive options there. They've, of course, got the attacking intent of either right back that they decide to play in Jeremy Frimpong, who's had a fantastic season with Leverkusen, and of course Dumfries as well. We know how much he likes to get forward, so it's probably going to be the typical three at the back for the Dutch, with one of them two bombing forward, most likely going to be Frimpong. And then you look at the midfield. They suffered a double blow this week, a big double blow in terms of Frankie de Jong and Tian I can't remember his name then. I can't even say his name. Teun Koopmeiners. Of course, both bowing out of the tournament before it's even begun with injury. That is a huge double blow for Netherlands. They've got some decent midfielders in there, but they're massive. They are massive cogs in the machine for them. And when you look at the overall squad, I do worry about the firepower up front. Are they going to get some consistency out of the likes of the likes of Depay and Cody Gakpo, and I hate to even really mention his name, but the likes of obviously Weghorst as well. Are they going to get any sort of consistency out of them? Is it going to be consistent at all? And you just wonder whether or not that's gonna be their major downfall as well. It does seem like we've already talked about Spain, already talked about Germany to a certain extent. Are those teams going to fall because they just simply don't have enough in the firing line? Is that basically where they fall down? And I think that certainly could be the case for these kinds of teams. And the Netherlands, I would expect them to. I think they could be very interesting to watch. They're going to obviously produce some decent play. But are they going to have enough about them in the final third to get them across the finish line? Interesting group, interesting team, interesting going forward into the competition. Defensively solid enough, but firepower-wise, maybe not. Maybe not. So, yeah, could be one to look out for. But otherwise, you can maybe dismiss them as not going to win the competition this year. Next on, we move to Portugal. Now, these are interesting. These are probably my second favourite to win the competition this year. And I think they're going a little bit under the radar, I really do think that this Portugal team is going under the radar. They've got a very strong squad. They've got talent. They've got quality. They've got depth. They've got experience. They've got a bit of youth too. They've got it all. And I'm very much interested to know what you guys think of this Portugal side. I definitely think they're going under the radar, and I could see them winning the tournament again. I really could. They won it back in 2016. It wasn't the most entirely convincing of triumphs, but in knockout competition, all you need to do is find a way to win, and that's exactly what Portugal did. And I think they could do it again. I really do. I think there is another team, obviously later on in the video, that is my personal favourite to win. But I think Portugal would give them a run for their money. I really, really do. You look at the squad. 3 solid goalkeepers. 3 decently solid goalkeepers to choose from. A well-known, strong and experienced backline. You look at Ruben Diaz of Manchester City, Diogo Dalot of Manchester United, Cancelo, he's been around a lot, and Pepe, who I'm sure commentators are going to be talking about his age every time he literally touches the ball, but he's going to be there still. You've got a balanced midfield. You've got the defensive, industrious work of João Palhinha. You've got the box-to-box, and obviously we know about Ruben Neves' long-range drives at goal, as well as his work rate. Vitinha, João Neves, and of course, Manchester United's talisman, Bruno Fernandes, the playmaker. If they get the Bruno Fernandes that was cutting defences open in the last few games of Manchester United's season, their forward line is going to feast. And Cristiano Ronaldo especially, we haven't even mentioned him yet, will feast heavily on the servings on a plate, on a silver platter, that this man is going to give him. But it's all about whether he can get the time, the space, and of course, if his head is in the game. If his head's not in the game, you won't get the Bruno Fernandes that we all know is phenomenal. We'll get the Bruno Fernandes that is a whiny, crybaby little rat. But again, the balance in that midfield is there. The creative side, the industrious side, it's all there. The ball carrying side, the technical side. And we haven't even talked about the front line. The front line, which is technically gifted and pacey at the same time. You've got the versatile Bernardo Silva. You've got the pacey Rafael Leao. You've got Pedro Neto, João Felix. And then you've got the killers up front. The killers, not literally the killers, the band, the killers up front, ice cold, running through their veins. Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota. Two ice cold finishers, assuming you can keep them both fit. My only worry with this Portugal squad, and I say it every single major tournament, is whether or not you can keep the Ronaldo show out of the circus. If Ronaldo likes to be perceived that Ronaldo's this unselfish kind of guy, this kind of, it's not all about me sort of thing. And I know that some of it isn't down to him, it's down to the media and things of that nature. But if they can stop the CR7 circus, and if Ronaldo can be more of a team player than ever before, not try and win it on his own, not try and go it alone, realise that this Portugal side is more well-rounded now, that he doesn't have to carry them. He can help the team carry each other. Portugal will do amazing in this tournament, and I think they are looking like the outsiders. I genuinely think they are. I genuinely think they are a little bit of the outsiders, but I think they're going under the radar. If Ronaldo can be even more of a team player than ever, if Fernandes is firing on all cylinders, I genuinely think Portugal could be a team to watch for, you know. And the more that I say it and the more I think about it, the more I'm actually starting to maybe change my mind over who might win. So we'll see. We'll see on this one. But for me, Portugal are certainly ones to watch in this tournament. Moving on, we've got Italy, the holders of this tournament, the defending champions. Italy. Euro holders, been put in a tough group alongside Spain, Albania, Croatia. Could be a very difficult group, that. Could even be difficult further on in the tournament. With the way that the tournament tree is set up, no matter whether they finish first, second or third, I think they've definitely got a difficult knockout game waiting for them, whichever way round it goes. Luciano Spalletti, we know, former Napoli manager, won them the Serie A title, of course, a year or so ago. Phenomenal circumstances, played some good football. And it's a decent squad he's selected. You know, it's typically a solid defensive structure, as you would imagine from any Italy side. A workhorse-like midfield, Brian Cristante, Lorenzo Pellegrini. Jorginho, we know, is very experienced and likes to control games. So we know it's a very balanced midfield. Barella is your main creative outlet, of course. The guy is a creative genius. But the front line, again, is not exactly convincing. At least not to me, anyway. It's a front line which is not exactly proven, but certainly could spark into life. You look at the likes of Federico Chiesa, Giacomo Raspadori, and of course, Gianluca Scamacca. A lot of the pressure of goals in this tournament for Italy will fall on Scamacca's shoulders. It's not going to be the best for him, but he has to handle that. If Italy are to get far in this tournament, those three in particular, or more Scamacca than anyone, is going to have to find the back of the net on a consistent enough basis. And he's proven that he can be sharp in front of goal. But whether or not he can hit the ground running in a tournament that is quite unforgiving in terms of, obviously, you need to start off fast and continue, I don't know. I really don't know. Will they defend their crown? I'm not so sure. I think they'll fall short again. I already think they've got a tough group. I already think that they've got a tough tournament tree set up for later on down the line. And I do worry about the firepower that they seemingly, in my opinion, lack in the final third. I think defensively they'll be solid. I think midfield they'll be very difficult to stop, break down, and I think on their day they will outrun and outmatch anyone physically. I just worry about their strike force. Is it going to be clinical enough when it matters most? Are they going to be strong enough when it matters most? Is the new manager settling into things at the right time? Because, you know, in the final a few years ago of this competition, they weren't exactly convincing against England. The reason why they won on penalties, sure. But the reason why they won that game was because England didn't step on their throats when it mattered. If England had gone a bit more adventurous, if Gareth Southgate had released the handbrake a little bit, England might have won that game. Italy, for as good a squad as they have, may not have the correct brains behind the operation. And that's why they may fall short this year. That's why they may fall short of defending their crown. And finally, the last of the teams that we're going to be talking about individually before we just get onto the general European Championship stuff is, of course, the French. Vive la France! What an incredibly deep pool of talent and quality that the French have at their disposal when it comes to these tournaments. It's absolutely phenomenal who they have and what they have. The three goalkeepers, solid choices all round. The defenders, incredible. The likes of William Saliba, Ibrahima Konate, Jules Koundé, Dayot Upamecano, phenomenal. Attacking intent and versatility of Lucas Hernandez and Benjamin Pavard to occupy the wings, maybe. An insane midfield that again is well balanced. N'Golo Kante, absolute workhorse. Camavinga, absolute workhorse. Tchouaméni, solid all-round midfielder. Rabiot, a bit more creative, bit more flair, bit more. That's what I'm looking for. Bit more spontaneous. Bit more unpredictable. And of course, Antoine Griezmann. We all know about Antoine Griezmann. Big responsibility falls on the shoulders of the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Kingsley Coman, and my personal breakout for the French squad, Barcola. I am butchering these names. I've heard these names a million times and I still cannot pronounce it. I am so stupid. But PSG, Barcola. Breakout for me. He's going to be a big breakout star in this tournament if obviously he gets trusted to play in the big games. I think he's going to be big for France this year. And then of course you have the usual suspects, the likes of Olivier Giroud. And of course, the poster boy, Kylian Mbappe. Massive pressure on his shoulders. The main focus will be on Mbappe, of course. He's just completed his insane move to Real Madrid. That's all done and dusted. His future is settled. He goes into this competition with a clear head, clear mind, and he's just going there to have fun. And you know, with how insane he is on major competitions, particularly on international football, how insane he was at the last World Cup, how insane he was at the World Cup before that, and how he'll probably want to redeem himself and redeem the French for the last time that they were in this competition, losing in the way that they did to Switzerland. The French want to redeem themselves, he'll want to redeem themselves, and he'll be the main guy of this tournament to, of course, break them through. Overall, they should be winning the tournament. The French squad is that good, is that strong, is that deep with talent and quality. They should be winning this tournament. No doubt in my mind, they should be winning this tournament. The only thing that I think can stop them is the manager. I'm not a massive fan of Didier Deschamps. I'm not a massive... It sounds weird, obviously, coming from, you know, a guy who's done nothing, and yet I'm criticising a guy who's won the World Cup and has got also to another World Cup final. But I've never been a massive fan of his tactics. I've never been a massive fan of how he utilises his players. And I think he's got a little bit fortunate in those major competitions with the players that he has at his disposal. I think the players have dragged the squad through. They should have probably won things a bit more convincingly than what they have, but they still managed to win them, so fair play. But that's the only reason why. And the reason I say that is, again, because a few years ago against Switzerland, they bottled it. France absolutely bottled it against Switzerland. It was a fantastic display by the Swiss, and they were fully deserving of going through in the end, and I think they went through on penalties, so the luck was on their side a little bit on that. But at the same time, I think they threw away like a 3-1 lead. Absolutely bottled it. And I think they'll want to redeem themselves. I really do think they'll want to redeem themselves. And look, the European Championship's the only thing that they're missing from their international resume in the modern era. So, in my personal opinion, I think France are going to win it. I think France are the favourites, in my opinion. I know that bookies say like England are, but I don't necessarily trust Gareth Southgate. The French have been there and done it before in major tournaments. I think they will redeem themselves, and I think they will get back to a winning position. However, in saying that, I still think Portugal. I just got a sneaky feeling about Portugal. And I'm normally pretty good at predicting winners of these kinds of tournaments. I predicted 2010 with Spain. I predicted 2012 with Spain. I predicted 2014 with Germany. 2016 with Portugal was a bit of an anomaly. 2018 with France, I predicted that. I'm pretty sure 2020/2021, because I was obviously COVID, I'm pretty sure I predicted Italy. And 2022, the World Cup in Qatar, I predicted Argentina. I may have said France, Italy in that one. I'm not 100% sure. I think I did say Italy, though, for 2021. I'm pretty sure I did. This one, I'm leaning more towards France, but I can understand the argument for England. My head is saying France, though, but my heart is saying Portugal. And I never thought I'd say that, because I don't really care for Portugal. But I've just got a sneaky feeling about Portugal. So if we look at the elsewhere in the tournament, Group A is Germany, Scotland, Hungary and Switzerland. Germany should go through. The rest, it could be up for grabs. The Swiss are normally pretty decent in these competitions, so you would probably suspect the Swiss may go through, but it could very much be open. Personally, as a Liverpool fan, I'm hoping that Andy Robertson's fit for the tournament, to see him and obviously Dominic Szoboszlai leading his country into battle there as well. Group B is that group of death situation between Spain, Croatia, Italy and Albania. Made less of a group of death, of course, because the third place qualifiers are now a thing. So that could obviously be a group in which a third place team does go through. But, you know, it could be anybody's group in that one. It really could be anybody's group. I think Albania may just be there to make up the numbers. They could be the whipping boys in that group. But Spain, Croatia, Italy, they're gonna be very much interesting, to say the least. Group C, Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and of course England. England should pass that group with flying colours, you would imagine and hope, but let's face it, expectations have been disastrously crushed before. And then from there, again, I think it could be between any one of them, really. Serbia, we know, normally solid in these competitions. Denmark as well. We know that obviously in the previous tournament, Denmark got the hearts of the world and of Europe with obviously what happened to Christian Eriksen and things in the last tournament. So Denmark could be a very interesting one. Obviously, I think for a lot of people, a lot of eyes will be on Slovenia's striker Benjamin Sesko. Obviously, a lot has been made about him recently with his transfer speculation, being rested by staying on at RB Leipzig, but I think a lot of people will be interested to see more of him on an international stage. It really could be anybody's group, that one. England should pass through, but again, to go through with them, that one could be very tricky to predict. Group D is Poland, Netherlands, Austria and France. You would strongly suspect that the Netherlands and French will go through on that one. The Poland-Austria thing, a third place may not be out of the question here. I think it would depend heavily on Poland and if they can get Robert Lewandowski back, fit and firing on all cylinders on a major tournament. It's never really happened for him, has it, on these tournaments? But yeah, that's the hope for them. I know that Poland have a relatively young squad, very, very interesting squad as well for Poland, but they never really do anything at these tournaments, so we shall see. Group E is Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine. May not be the most exciting or interesting on paper, but still could be very interesting. Belgium, we obviously know about their times. I mean, if they're not going to win it during their golden generation, they're not going to win it now. Kevin De Bruyne will obviously be a major factor for Belgium there. They had a disastrous World Cup, I believe. The Euros of the World Cup, a very disastrous one. So they're looking to redeem themselves. But I think the golden times are over for Belgium. This one could be very interesting though in terms of what remains. Belgium, you would expect, should go through, and then it could be a toss-up between any one of the other three. Probably Ukraine. You would imagine that with obviously everything going off in the world right now, Ukraine are going to be the sort of soft spot team for a lot of fans. So yeah, the Ukraine could be very interesting to watch and obviously to feel about the tournament as a whole. And there is normally a team that does defy expectation, or there is one that gets by purely based on I wouldn't say purely based, but there is obviously talent there, but there is a lot of like love and support from neutral fans and rival fans at that. So Ukraine could be interesting. And then Group F is Portugal, Czech Republic, Georgia and Turkey. Turkey were the side in the World Cup that everybody put a lot of money on being like dark horses for and being this kind of underrated team. I'm very much interested to see how they perform in this one. Portugal should have no problem whatsoever flying through and absolutely passing this group with flying colours. So they should get through. Toss up between the rest though. Probably would suspect Turkey, but that's not to discount mainly the Czech Republic. on this one. So could be very interesting to see how they progress, and then obviously from there the knockouts would then begin. But that's kind of my predictions for that. Flops of the tournament, just quickly, it will be England if they fail to win it. I've already briefly mentioned that. Top goal scorer. I'm not really actually thought about top goal scorer. There are a few names that are buzzing around, of course. Harry Kane of England seems to be striking a lot of people. Kylian Mbappe, of course, top contender considering that France are expected to go the entire way. Ronaldo, maybe. Ronaldo could again be another shout. There could also be, someone from like the small, like a Romelu Lukaku, for example. Although Lukaku's not really progressed much on a international stage. I'd probably go with a safe bet of Mbappe. Maybe at a push, maybe an Mbappe Ronaldo joint level kind of thing. I just think with the group that Portugal have, I think it's a very good opportunity for them to stat pad there and then kind of grind it out in the knockout stages for them. So yeah, probably something along them lines to really kick things off. But overall, like I say, the bottom line here is that I'm predicting a France-Portugal sort of thing. One of those two teams. If I'm leaning more towards one or the other, I'm leaning more towards France. But the more that I talk about Portugal, the more I'm convincing myself that maybe an outside shout of Portugal is the way to go. Again, it's whether I go with my head in France or my heart in Portugal. So that is basically what is to be said of this European 2024 Championship preview. I think that made sense. Thanks for sticking with me. I know this has been a very long video. If you made it this far, thank you all so much for doing that. I genuinely appreciate it. These are, of course, the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings of this guy. I want to know what you guys think and feel. Let me know what you guys think and feel down below in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, but most of all, of course, your predictions on Euro 2024 that is set to begin in around about 48 hours' time in Germany, ahead of what is going to be an incredible summer of international football, not just in terms of the Euros, of course, but we've also got Copa America as well to look forward to. So it all should be very intriguing. It all should be very exciting, no matter where you are, what you're doing, and of course, if you are a big fan of football. Hit the like button on the way out for me if you can. That'd be very much appreciated, as well as subscribing as well. All of those things will be very much appreciated. Would love to hear from you all and love to obviously see that. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. Enjoy the Euros. We'll obviously try and cover as much as what we can during that time. So please do stick around for that. Otherwise, enjoy it. Have a good rest of your night. And I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.